So it was the Science Journal Club, and I was a facilitator for one of the groups in the Science Journal Clubs that participants would sign up to do. So what that meant was having training as a facilitator, where through your online platform we did completed some online training on navigating research, reading it, peer reviews, and quantitative and qualitative, and just knowing about getting ourselves as facilitators up to standard on and what all of that means. And then we had templates, and we had sort of mock journal clubs. So all the facilitators did a few journal clubs to get an idea of what they were like. And then we had our own group allocated to us, where we would contact every, I believe it was every month or so or two, where we'd get distributed the journal, have time to read it, fill out some of our sheets and things like that. And then we just all meet as your facilitator group and talk about that journal. What made me want to sign up for it was I've always had an interest in evidence-based practice since like my NQT year in 2013. So journal clubs was one of the things that was discussed there. And in every school, I've always wanted to set up a journal club, but unfortunately, just the roles that I've had haven't really allowed me the capacity to do any of that. So coming to work in this environment that I am now, I suddenly had a little bit more free time and capacity, essentially, to do this. So I really wanted to, because I think it's really valuable. We should base everything we do on evidence. And do we always have the time to have a space that is not in school? It was a bit different. It was people and teachers that you haven't met before. Didn't feel judgmental. There was no pressures on it. It was so I just thought it was develop my skills on reading research and using it, and then also just a platform to share with others. And I'm quite passionate about it, so I think it helped to be a facilitator with that. What I enjoyed the most was probably meeting with our group. They were a really nice group. We had a real range of teachers in really different contexts that, again, were all sort of, wanted to gain a lot out of it. I think we found it all really reassuring that we were all talking about the similar things. What came out from them was that I think a lot of us do things that we sort of know, but doing the research and the journal club just gave us all this like backup as to why we do certain things, and maybe make us change certain things as well. So I think that was the most enjoyable, was obviously delving into the research and reading it, but it was more just having a space to talk about it with other people, with other science teachers that are not in your school or different contexts, getting different viewpoints. I think that was the most enjoyable for me. I think what I took out of it the most was, one, engaging with the research in a slightly formulated way rather than just reading something, because it helped me focus in on the more important parts of a journal or an article and things like that. What it also helped me do is make some changes in my own practice at the time. I think one of the journals was on practicals and clear instructions, and breaking things down and making it direct instructions, and trying that in a classroom and then just seeing it happen and applying that during the time that we were all doing it together, and then we were all coming back to discuss it and share our ideas. So I think that's how it's impacted my practice in that sense. It also helped me to take on the evidence-based practice certificate with yourselves, and I then did the chartered teaching status. So actually what I didn't realise at the time was that all of that facilitating, the journal club facilitating work, or things that we did, actually helped with that quite a lot. It was during lockdown, and I think, like I said, the participants that I would have had, not many of them could join in those groups, which was a real shame, because sometimes we had only like one other person or two. You have a really different conversation when you've got two people in your space to discussing with, 3 or 4. Eventually, we narrowed down to the same 4 people, and what I found is that they were more comfortable talking as the sessions went on. So actually, at first I thought it's not great because not many people are joining, or they're too busy, or they've got other things, and finding a time. But eventually, once the same people kept responding and joining, who had the time, we started to build a good sort of relationship, an online or virtual, that we all felt a lot more open as time went on. Some of the challenges, I think there was a couple of journals that were just a bit data heavy. That also threw people, because I think your capacity is a little bit low anyway during lockdown, trying to teach online, things like that. I think that might have just overwhelmed a few people sometimes. But again, it didn't. When we talked about it, it was great, because we all felt the same thing. So we just discussed, well, we didn't need to do too much of what we think we might have to do. So the challenges were just, participants and having everyone on board in your group, and having the right number of people in it to make a conversation flow and work. I'd say yes. I think if every school made time to sit and reflect on a journal, we'd all be vastly better teachers. Why is it good? It's the most non-judgmental process that doesn't necessarily require too much effort to do. You could have a department meeting. In fact, I used to do this with my own department when I was head of department. If I made a change, I would share the research with them first and allow us to discuss it and decipher what was good or not, or what would work or not. And then we implemented it. So actually, the entire process of making any change or implementing, I had everyone on board, because it wasn't an idea I've conjured up in my own head and this is what I'm asking you to do. This was, let's link in CPD, let's link in a journal, let's interpret it ourselves and how we think it will work or not, and let's trial it. And I think there's so much. I think the courses, to be fair, that Chartered College do, I think have been the best CPD I've ever been on or done, than going for a day out, one day here. Or I just think all schools need to have an evidence-based approach and use journals. I can't advocate it enough, I don't think. So the issues, the complications with that is time. When a school doesn't prioritize it or doesn't allocate the time for teachers or the space for it, you can't do it effectively. You really can't. There's people's capacity, the timing of the day, when do you do it? It needs to be embedded, it needs to be regular. It can't just be a one-off thing. Even our journal clubs, I think we were all a bit sad when they ended, to be honest, because we found the little connection that we had was really valuable to us all. We could talk about different things with teachers not in our department, which was great. And I wonder if that could be a whole countrywide thing. Why can't it be? Why isn't it? Because actually every single school is doing the same thing. And if we're all sharing and talking about beyond just one school, then you've spread information or CPD quite quickly. Yeah, definitely. So one of the I think I've spoken about it in my previous roles, and definitely when I moved to my next role, I've sort of said that I'd like to be involved in CPD and teacher development as much as I can. So I hope to be able to continue using it, or setting it up for my science department. It'd be a small department to begin with, so we could do something using those sort of formats. So yes, I do, and I really do want to use it over there as well in whatever capacity I can. I think when I was head of department, it made it easier because it was obviously my decision to do. I am going as a teacher of biology, so I won't necessarily be in charge of the department, but I'm sure they wouldn't mind if I if I started running one of these, and I still continue running it with students as well when we get to the A-level side of things. I will take some information from what I've learned here as well, and be able to share it with A-level students. So yes, definitely hope to continue using it. I would encourage every teacher to be involved in a journal club of sort, whether in your school or outside, or I think it's a huge CPD benefit for all teachers.